Hi, good afternoon, Amy. Good afternoon, North County and Pacific Southwest family. A short intro for you guys on who is on the phone, your support team today. I am Devin Hallis. I am your Director of Association Resource. I work closely with your association and their staff. On the line, we have Rob Larson, our Chief Information Officer, Andy Wen, Director of Technical Operations, Zach Garcia, Product Manager, Paulo Gutierrez, the Product and Remote Systems Manager, as well as Nicole Aguilar, Director of Marketing and Communications, Megan Barber, Compliance Manager, and of course, you met Amy Uyo-Zuniga, Director of Broker Resources and Member Engagement. This will be recorded, as she mentioned, and provided to your association, and will also be in a follow-up email to you guys. Again, please utilize the Q&A features. We'll be answering your questions live, and we will be sending you some information in QA, also via chat. So let's get started with why we are here today. We are here today because your Paragon system is going through an upgrade on September 21st. Your current system does not meet national RISO guidelines. RISO is known as the Real Estate Standards Organization. CRMLS is platinum certified, and this upgrade will bring you into the CRMLS standard of consistency so that products and data will work better together. Okay, we get asked about the acronyms. I'm going to show you your resource center where a lot of those are housed. But think of CRMLS as the umbrella under which your listing input platform, which is Paragon, exists. We have gotten a lot of feedback in regards to the look and feel, a lot of concern expressed. And so what I'm going to ask you to do, or what I'm going to ask Paulo to do in a second here, is share his screen, and he's going to take you through the look and feel of the new system, keeping in mind that if you guys are interested in the test credentials to take a look at this until the 21st, your respective associations are happy to help. So if you are interested in test driving and gaining some credentials into your upgraded system, you can reach out to your North County folks at mls@nsdcar.com. or respectively, Pacific Southwest can reach out to rich@psar.org. Okay, for those details, being mindful that this is a shared account, so anything that's input will be purged when we go live on the 21st. So just be mindful of what you're putting in there. Okay, Paulo, take it away.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So basically, this is the search page for our new CRMLS Paragon that we are moving over to on the 21st. As you can see, the button locations, the search page, they generally look the same. So not much is changing aside from the actual field itself to get us RISO compliant as far as, RISO certified as far as the data. So running searches, it will have the same look and feel. Button location will be the same. Reports will be familiar, and everything else as far as button location, details on the property and all that, it's gonna have that same feel. Same goes for listing input. The listing input is generally in the same or similar format, with everything is in the same location in regards to how you are used to it today. So not much is changing there aside from the actual field set, because we had to upgrade it and get us into the RISO certified field set.
All right, thank you, Paulo. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you guys. We are going to go through your resource center. We are going to put the URL in the chat box so that you guys can follow along if you wish. Again, all of the things that I'm going to cover today are all housed in your super fabulous resource center. Okay, let me share my screen with you. Okay, here we go. Before we get started, we want to address an email that you may have received today. It contains some inaccuracies and distortions, and we want to reassure you that contrary to that email's claims, that your MLS data will be staying fully intact. We plan to put out a statement soon in regards to it, so please stay tuned for our side of the story, okay? For those of you who received that email, you know exactly what I'm referencing. Let's get started. So we are in your Super Duper Paragon Upgrade Resource Center. Like it says here, we've got you covered. We are 5 days away. I'm going to talk timelines with you first. Here is a screenshot or a snapshot of what we are going to cover. Some of them I am going to just tell you what is in the document for sake of time, because I want to leave lots of time for your Q&A. Again, make sure that you type those questions in the Q&A box and we will answer those live. First and foremost, what you need to do is our first box here, and the most important thing I want to talk to you about today is your launch and your downtime schedule. I need you to take note of these very important dates. September 21st is your upgrade go live day. All right, Monday at 8 a.m. you're going to come up. But with any upgrade, there is some downtime that is needed to make sure that we preserve the integrity of your account as best as possible. Your downtime starts this Thursday, September 17th at noon. Okay, 9/17 at noon. What will happen is Paragon will be in read-only mode. Read-only mode means that add edit will be disabled. So listing input and editing functions will be offline. Okay, you will not have access to make any modifications or changes to your listing. No additions, no subtractions, nothing, okay? You will still continue to be able to log in. Your username and password will not be changing, and you will be able to log in and do searches and take a look at your contacts and what have you. If there are any modifications made to any of these items after 9/17 at noon, it will not come across. Those modifications will not come across and be live for you in your upgraded system, okay? Everything done prior to 9/17 at noon, right? We'll cover what's coming and what's not, but any type of editing needs to be done 9/17 prior to noon, all right? Your upgrade will take place through the weekend where we are making a snapshot of it, and you guys will come back live September 21st at 8 a.m. All right, there are some action items that we are asking for you guys to do prior to 9/17 at noon. That is housed here in this document. So because it will go into read-only mode and you will not have edit capability, we are asking that you audit your saved searches and contacts, right? Just get in there, clear out anything that you no longer need. Just take a look at those, okay? Those will be coming over, but a nice clean version is always nice to start with. Submit any of your complete listings if it's contractually appropriate, all right? Incomplete or partial listings will not be something that's carried over. We are going to go over this in another document as well. So make sure you're submitting those if appropriate, and if not, please print them or save them or take a picture of them in some way so you can replicate that criteria. In addition, CMAs will not carry over, so we are asking you to back those up. Print them, whether that's to PDF or paper, again, prior to 9/17 at noon. Finally, we need you to review your IDX options. Your Paragon IDX Smart Framing solution will not exist in your upgraded system, okay? So if you have consumers who are searching, please make sure that you're checking out all of the available resources to you. All of the links in here are clickable, all right? And it will take you to some additional IDX options. The majority of them are available at no additional cost. Okay, so that is the book of timeframes and action items we need you to take a look at prior to. All right, are there any questions with just those couple topics that we have covered before we move on?
We are good, Devin. You could continue.
Wonderful. Okay. Moving right along, these are some FAQs that cover some of the information that we have already gone through. I encourage you to take a look at it, but for sake of time, I'm going to launch into some of the other documents that give you more side-by-side feel, okay? The one thing on this document that I need to draw your attention to is if you are a broker with offices in both CRMLS with North County or Pacific Southwest, or SDMLS for SDAR, do you need to do anything? Yes, you are going to need accounts for each system, for each MLS system, okay? So if you have offices with SDMLS, you will need an account. If you have offices in the CRMLS system, which is North San Diego or Pacific Southwest, you need to have an account with them as well to be able to manage both sets of offices, okay? All right, that's your FAQ document again, just that bottom portion. Straight into what will and won't carry over. I know that you guys are dying to know that, so let's launch in. Things that are carrying over, rest assured your listings will be coming over, okay? Your saved searches will also be carrying over. They will be inactive, all right? The action item after launch, we are putting that form together for you and we will be posting it here in your resource page. You'll need to go into the save search, update and edit it and save it and then activate it for your clients, okay? Contacts are carrying over, names, email addresses, and phone numbers. Email notifications. If you have an email notification set up, it will convert to the Collab Center on launch date. I know that this is a slight change for you guys. So after launch, you need to confirm those Collab Center preferences are set up. Preference settings that are coming over, user office logo, agent photo, assume identity, email signature, and message body are carrying over, right? Things that are not carrying over, those action items that we alluded to on the additional document, your existing auto notifications are going to need to be manually reactivated, okay? Collab Center favorites, possibilities, and rejects. CMAs, not coming over, all right? So print those out. Hot sheets, custom reports and exports, data created or modified during read-only window. We mentioned that when we were talking about offline. And partial incomplete listings. We talked about that, and your preference settings, including market monitor filters, search options, and your result options. Everything is going to be set to an MLS default, okay? Okay, this may have generated some questions and or concerns. Nicole, do we have anything currently?
We have one question. Are we going to have to renew auto searches and send users a new link?
Yeah, you'll follow the steps and it'll essentially, to re-enable it, you'll want to review the criteria. If you have those 2 letter Z's, that meant something didn't come over. So take a good look at that criteria. And then when you follow the steps to re-enable, it will resend to the client. They will have to go through the same process like as if it were brand new, because it is coming from another system.
Thank you, Rob. And we're good. We have no additional questions at this time.
All right, we will continue to push forward then so I can show you guys exactly all the good things that are happening with your upgraded system. Feature improvements, because everybody needs some good news, so let's talk some good news. Your feature update will be able to load 75 photos onto your listing instead of the 25 that you currently have available now. Your listing distribution dashboard, this is a lot broker driven unless they're handing down the permission. But what this will be is, instead of leveraging bridge through your Paragon system, this will be a tile, right? One of those small icons on your dashboard, and you will be able to get in here and manage those listing distribution preferences. So you, as a broker, will come in here. You can select if you'd like your agents to be able to have that authority, or if you're selecting for your office, you can come in here and you can save your changes. Your preferences as you have them now, if you've already selected something and have listing distribution set, those preferences will come over, okay? So rest assured, anything that you've chosen now will come over, but here's the added, so you can go in there. You can also double check that on launch date and get familiar with your distribution options, because there are some additions to it. You will have an enhanced version of InfoSparks, which is your stats package. It will include fast stats with local market updates, monthly indicators, and annual reports. And one of the biggest ones is room dimensions. Room dimensions will be retired in your upgraded system. When we presented to you 2 years ago, almost to the date that you guys came over and became a CRMLS family member, we actually got applause when we were in the room presenting on this. There was a lot of excitement generated by room dimensions being retired. So those will be eliminated. If you wish to utilize those 9/21 moving forward, you can set that in your property description, okay? So currently you guys have remarks and you have 510 characters available in your remarks. Your new remarks field will be labeled public remarks and you will have 1,500 characters, okay? So from 510 to 1,500. That same will follow for what you guys now have as confidential remarks. Those will be labeled as private remarks. And again, you go from 510 to 1,500 in that one as well. So again, moving forward, 921, if room dimensions are near and dear to your heart, then you can leverage one of those two in order to be able to display those, okay? Yay for some good news. There's some other good news located in our key differences. I want to make sure that I'm being mindful of the questions being asked. Nicole, is there anything that we need to pause for while we would discuss feature improvements?
Nope, you're doing good.
All
Keep
right,
going.
awesome. So key differences. I know that we're going to capture some of you with your Q&A here for key differences. Here are some key differences in the system that we want to make you aware of. All right, broken down by category. San Diego Paragon Old is your current system. CRMLS Paragon New is your upgraded system. Again, we talked about the photos going from 25 to 75. All right. Listing distribution, we discussed that as well. It's currently within your Paragon system, but it is going to your dashboard as a tile for ease of use. Listing measures, this is one of the items that you'll see a trend throughout. We will continue to discuss. You currently have in your system days on MLS and market time. Those will not exist in your new system. Your new system will leverage days on market, okay, DOM. We leverage DOM and CDOM in the upgraded system. I am going to get to some definitions of those and your rules differences as well. But DOM most closely mirrors your market time, okay? Status changes, all right? Another hot ticket item here. Active will remain the same. Your contingent status is being retired and you guys will leverage active under contract, okay? Canceled remains the same. Your sold and rented statuses are moved to closed. So you'll be closing your listings. Coming soon remains the same. Expired remains the same. You gain hold. And again, on the rule differences, we will cover what your hold status will encompass by definition in our rules. Pending remains the same. Withdrawn remains the same. And we are retiring back on market. All right. Back on market does not exist within your new system. Any listings that are currently set as back on market prior to the 9/17 at noon when we go offline, when you come back up on 9/21, your back on market listings will show an active status within your system. Okay. Property type changes. Currently you have residential 2 to 4. In your upgraded system, that's going to reflect as residential income. Manufactured in park is something that you're gaining. It's not something you currently have in your system. That is typically described as on leased land, right? A manufactured home on leased land through a park. Hotel, mobile, park, office, industrial that you currently have in your system will be moved over to our commercial sale, commercial lease, and business opportunity top property types. Okay. Field changes, some of the more notable ones, neighborhood field and market area field will not be coming over. They are going to be retired and they do not exist in your upgraded system. Another big ticket item is your zip area. Your zip area field is now going to be MLS area, all right? So if you have anything in your saved search that contains multiple zip areas, those will be mapped to your MLS areas, all right? Those will still exist in your searches. Room dimensions, as we mentioned before, it does not exist. It will not be available in your system. Again, you can leverage the 1,500 character count in your new public remarks section. All right. Dollar and percent compensation fields will be coming to buyer agency compensation type. That will be the field that is mapped to. All right. Mello-Roos. We listened when you spoke. So Mello-Roos originally was not going to be a field in your upgraded system. It will follow a few weeks after your upgrade, okay, as it was not originally mapped. This was taken to ops, to our ops committee. Just so you know, we have a representative on each of our committees, one representative from each one of our 41 member associations. All right, and so your representative came in and they spoke and we listened. So Mello-Roos will be available. Your Mello-Roos field in the interim will be mapped to the private remarks field, okay? So what you know as the confidential remarks is going to private remarks, and Mello-Roos will be mapped there, right? So those dollar amounts are not just disappearing, they are going to have a home, and then we will be replacing those fields and doing a backfill of that information after the fact, okay? You guys currently have ownership in your system. That will be common interest in your upgraded system. And again, the other ones we're alluding to is your remarks field goes to public remarks. Your character count goes from 510 to 1500 in both. And private remarks is going to be named, no, I'm sorry. Your confidential remarks will be private remarks. Okay, so that's kind of your key differences lineup. Again, to iterate, all of the documents that I am running through right now are housed in your resource center. And I know that that link has been provided. I think our team plans on providing that link a few additional times in case you wanted to follow along, but all of this information is housed there. I would caution you and just be mindful that we are constantly taking the feedback and adding and moving some things around. So just to be conscientious if you plan to print any of these documents out. Okay, I'm sure that that generated enough questions to keep us busy for the next few minutes. Nicole, what do we got?
Okay, so Katie wants to know what information will show up in the remarks field on an email to a client.
Well, first of all, the private remarks do not go out to emails or the subsequent portal for the membership, the Collab Center. So we don't have a list for you here as far as what's actually in the email, but between the email and the Collab Center itself, it's all the information you would see typical to a public site, whether it's IDX or a portal. It would be comparable to what you would see today in your system, given there are field changes, but roughly the sensitivity of the information included will remain the same.
Okay, next question. What about multi-units over 4 for residential? Where will those be?
We understand the difference between 4 and 5 units, but we also understand that members quite often are fine with 4 or 5 units when they're searching and so on. So instead of forcing 5 and above over into a commercial type, we do allow 5 and above, so over 2 can go into our residential income type. Into that property type, and so you can put whatever number of units you have there as a residential income type.
Okay, next question is regarding Mello-Roos. We have noted that it will be available in the upgraded Paragon system 2 to 3 weeks after the upgrade. Michael wants to know what happens to Mello-Roos within those first couple of weeks after upgrade.
We are carrying over the existing information into the private remarks. You can continue to, for new listings, add it there. And then as soon as we get the fields added into the new system, then we will bring over what information we can from the old system. Any new listings, you can go in and update that and add that after the fact.
Okay, great. Next question is about searching by zip code. Can they still search by zip code? And if so, where is that going to be done?
Yes, there's a couple nuances to this. One, your zip area, you can still search by that, but outside of San Diego County, other associations and MLSs have their areas. So that's where you'll see the difference. So if you want to still search by zip across the entire state, that's the postal code field. And you can put in any series of zip codes you want to search by multiple zip codes if that's your choosing.
Okay. We have a question here regarding ownership replaced with common interest is confusing. As fee simple is not common interest.
Correct. And under common interest, there is one that says none. That is one of the options. So essentially, when there is no common interest, then that's tantamount to that. There's also the question of whether or not the land is leased or not. So fee simple typically would go with fee lease, not intermingled with the ownership types that you find under common interest. So that field is called land lease yes, no. So if you have something that says common interest none, and it says land lease no, that's kind of your classic, I'm the only one who owns this single family residence, type of scenario.
Okay, next question is regarding neighborhoods. Why did they take out neighborhoods? And more importantly, where do you put neighborhood when searching?
Part of the problem with the neighborhoods is it's just a free text field, and you can add that to remarks fields as far as going forward. With respect to what we have under this structure, the most granular is the subdivisions, but that's a structured list, so you've got some reliability to be able to search against it. Today with neighborhoods, really, if you're searching against it, you're probably missing listings. Whenever you got something that people can type freely, you're not going to have that consistency. So you go from that subdivision field up to your area. In your case, it's zip codes, and so on. But what I really always recommend to folks is use the map search. It is not only more powerful, but is much more reliable because it's not dependent on somebody actually typing something right or making a correct selection when they're doing the input. That map pin is validated against the address of the property. And so when you do a search against that, you've got a much higher reliability rate. So if you have any questions on that, please contact our support and we'd be happy to show you more.
Okay, Devin, do we have time for a few more questions?
Yes, we're doing.
Okay.
Yes, we're doing. I think really good on time. I have a couple more documents, and then we'll open the floor. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. We do have a few more questions on this document. Will DOM be calculated still from the listing contract date? Since MT is going away, will we be able to use the exclusion form then, or only the coming soon status?
Well, with NAR Policy 8, the clear cooperation, the notion that DOM could start on a contract date and outside of the MLS beyond market has changed fundamentally. So really that on market date is pretty well coupled with when the listing goes in. So DOM and the days in MLS have become very close to the same thing these days in pretty much any system that is following the NAR guidelines.
Okay, great. Thank you. And one other question, will complex still be a field in the upgraded system?
Complex. I'm trying to remember that one off the top of my head. I haven't been asked that. We've got a lot of fields. I don't know if Paolo, if you recall that one, we might need to look it up for you. Okay.
Yeah, if you don't know offhand, Paolo, we could follow up with that towards the end. All right. Okay, sounds good. Devin, do you want to go ahead and move forward?
Yes, let's keep moving. Okay, so we talked some key differences, we talked some good news and feature improvements, and we are going to cover your pain points and rules comparison doc and then open the floor. Just to show you what's near the bottom here though, recent emails that we've sent, if you are interested to see if there's any communications you may have missed. Also acronym cheat sheet, I know sometimes we throw out letters in combination that may not be familiar to you, so we have this here. And in addition, our coverage areas, so that you guys have a refresher on who the CRMLS family is, okay? And how statewide we actually have become through our data share partners as well as our family members. Okay, potential pain points. You are going to hear me use the word wizard a lot, so let me introduce you to my friends, the wizards. So why a pain points document? Because with any upgrade, there are things, and we want to make sure that we are transparent about said things. So with that, we discussed that auto notification settings will not carry over, including collab setter favorites, possibility rejects, etc. We are encouraging you to please use my friend, the preferences wizard, to assist you in setting that up after the upgrade, okay? Email notification settings will not carry over and will be handled in the Collab Center post-launch. I know this is a change for you guys. We ask that you guys visit my other friend, the Collab Center Preferences Wizard, that should pop up on login after the upgrade to help take you through and show you the new and upgraded way that those will be handled. Saved searches, Rob alluded to it earlier. So your saved searches are coming over. They will be there. As with your upgrade, as we've mentioned, some of your cheese may have moved. Some of it may have been renamed, moved, and some of it may not exist anymore. For those searches that come over that have a search criteria that no longer exists or has been changed, you're going to see a ZZ prefix so that you can see that there is an action item that you need to go in, review, save, and reactivate those, okay, post-launch. So again, they are coming over, but there will be this indicator that will tell you that there is something that may have moved or changed. IDX, we discussed that in a different document as well. Please hit up our resources page for additional information, as the Paragon IDX smart framing will no longer be available. Agent remarks. So a fair number of your fields or values may end up in your remarks field. So please make sure that you're checking there if there is something that is missing for you. Custom reports and exports will not carry over. Again, you'll need to recreate those reports. So please make sure that you're getting in there and printing or snapshotting anything that you may need to recreate. CMAs also will not be carrying over. So please make sure that you're exporting or printing those in some way as well. And my final friend is the CMA Preferences Wizard, who will help you get all of that stuff set back up. Easy peasy. All right. And finally, hot sheets will also not be carrying over. We did discuss those in the beginning. Okay. All right. So any questions before we move on to everybody's favorite topic of rules, right? Pain points, all the wizards.
I think, Devin, we're safe to move forward for right now.
Okay. We are going to march on down. And our final document before we open the floor is the rules comparison. We had our compliance team, notably Jeff Smetana and Megan Barber, our compliance manager, who is on the line with us, do a comparison of your current rule subset and the rule subset that you're coming to, keeping in mind that we have been doing the processing for you, as well as you have been underneath our citation policy, right, which is the fines, the tickets, so to speak. And they have comprised a snapshot of some of the major differences between the rules. We have also been discussing, and we want to make sure that we get addressed, that we are aware that from 9:17 at noon, right, to 9:20, your access to the MLS will be in read-only mode, which means you'll not be able to edit those listings, okay? Because of this limitation, CRMLS is temporarily permitting you to show coming soon listings without moving the listing to active, which is what is normally required. However, you must update the listing to the proper status as soon as possible upon those editing capabilities being restored. Okay, so that may generate some questions in itself. I am going to run through these with you guys. And again, then we'll get some questions and answers and we'll open the floor. So entries, a listing may be entered into more than one residential style or property type, all right? Your updated rules will allow for one property type for a specific property. However, a property can be entered into multiple property types. If you and your broker agree that it fits in more than one, then you can go ahead and enter it as such. There are no variances needed. Okay, so please be mindful of that, right? We do ask that if you enter it into two property types, that, for instance, residential and residential income, that you reference the additional ML number and only close it under the one property type. Okay. Late entry, right now your current rule subset says 48 hours of obtaining necessary signatures. Your updated rule set says 2 business days. 2 business days for the purpose of CRMLS are the old banker's hours, no weekends, no holidays. So those 2 business days may turn into 5 calendar days. We also specify and go into a little more depth about what the effective date is. Changing listing information, currently you are allotted 24 hours and we allot 2 business days. Range pricing, your current subset says 80%, no less than 80% of the high-end list price. We have 85, no less than 85 of the high-end list price. New construction, there is not currently a handling in your rule subset. However, new construction listings are addressed in your upgraded rule subset. Expired listings, we mentioned that back on market will be retired. All right, so expired listings can currently be reactivated leveraging that status. Because that status will be retired, extensions obtained and signed after a listing's expiration date will be treated as a new listing and require a new listing entry. All right, there's a key difference there. Providing of documentation, you guys are called to take action within 24 hours, and we ask for 2 business days, okay? You're gonna see 2 business days quite a bit. Reporting a cancellation of pending sale. Right now you say yours indicates immediately and we say 2 business days. All right, contingent status. You guys are retiring contingent status and you will leverage active under contract. This is the status as defined, all right, by our rules of what active under contract means. Please take a look. Okay, hold status. You guys are gaining hold. I did tell you we would talk about what the hold status is defined as. A valid listing contract exists. No offer has been accepted. The listing broker is in possession of seller written instruction to submit the listing as hold. A lot of the reasons that we get are repairs, illness, guests coming in, and then marketing and advertising is permitted, okay? But the property is not available for show. Neighborhood photos, only photographs of the property, views from the property or HOA amenities are permitted currently. Your upgraded system, neighborhood photographs are permitted provided they are captioned as such. This was a confusing one earlier. You guys leverage labels, so if it is labeled as such. So please make sure that you are using those labels accordingly. Photo requirement currently is 72 hours of entry, front exterior as primary photo. CRMLS for your upgraded is 1 photograph, a substantial portion of the exterior, uploaded within 2 calendar days, but there is no requirement that states that the exterior photograph must be the primary photo. Okay, so a little bit more leverage there. Lockboxes, a lockbox must be removed within 72 hours after the close of escrow. We indicate 1 day, so you are losing a little bit of time there. General changes, room dimensions, again, room dimensions were currently required. Those will not be available in your upgraded system, but they can be included in the property description or private remarks if they are near and dear to your heart. Again, those will be going away. So if you have some of your listings that contain that information, please make sure that you are copying that down, and after 9/21, you'll be able to add it back into those fields. Auto sold listings. Currently, when you enter something into contingent or pending status, the listing's not automatically closed out by your system, right? So it can marinate in your system for quite a while. For your upgraded system, once you've surpassed that estimated close date within 5 days, our system is going to flip that to closed, okay? So that will be a change. So please make sure that you're manually managing those listings and keeping track of those estimated close of escrow dates. Virtual tours, currently you guys do not have one that will include branding. We do have a specific field for a branded virtual tour that can be leveraged, okay? So there's a designated field for that. So you're gaining something there. Days on MLS and market time, those both are being retired. And Rob did speak to that. We are going to be leveraging days on market, okay? Days on market in your new system. Measured by the date the listing is in the status of active or active under contract. All right, and then sold versus closed. We talked about it in a previous document that you guys currently leverage sold, and we leverage closed when reporting a sale in the MLS, okay? Citation policy changes, things that will no longer be eligible for a warning are listed here. A violation that has a different fine amount, and violation and fines are new. Again, you guys are currently under our citation policy, so these are just some of the changes that will take effect. Our compliance team is going to be doing some outreach in the coming months to make sure that you're up to speed. We understand that some of these are pretty big changes for you, and we will make sure that you get all dialed in before moving forward with anything that's going to affect your business. And with that, I will turn it over for questions.
Okay, we do have a question in regards to the remarks. Because of the increase to 1,500 characters, will the supplemental remarks be eliminated?
Yes, yeah, they're being folded in. When we import that data, we bring the two into the one field, so you're not losing any information. And you won't need the additional field now that the main one is large enough.
Okay, great. In regards to the units, when it's more than 4 units, Beverly's asking, isn't there different forms required for when it's more than 4 units?
In the practice of real estate, my understanding is there's a lot of differences around financing and so on. In the MLS system, not particularly. No, we don't really engage at that level in the listing.
Okay. And what is an unauthorized photo for neighborhood market report?
I'll go ahead and answer that one. So when it comes to a neighborhood market report, basically you don't want to use any photographs that are taken from the MLS. So you want to make sure that if you are, well, going into the neighborhood market report, photographs aren't allowed at all, or if it's done, it has to be done in a certain way. But when it comes to unauthorized photos, it's specifically talking about going into the MLS, pulling those photographs from either your listing or a prior listing and including that in your document.
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.
Okay, David would like to know if a home is pending but the deal fails, how will the status appear? It used to show as back on market. What will it appear as after the upgrade?
Backup market technically isn't going away. Backup market, we don't look at it as a status, it's a state of change. And we have a field called change type. So when you have your hot sheets and other things like that, you have the ability to see that back on market. So depending on how the deal fails, like say the listing is going, you're still good with the seller and you're just going to go back to active, then that's what the new status would be. It'd be whatever status you change it to.
Okay, thank you. And this may be a question for Megan regarding violations. How will members be notified through email if they have a violation?
That's a great question. So on roster, you want to make sure that you have an email address that's up to date, that's continuously being monitored, because that's pretty much our only method of communicating with you. So once you receive a citation, depending on what the violation is, we may have reached out to you prior, and we will receive reports. We'll reach out to you, whether it's an inquiry, warning notice, or citation notice. It's always going to be sent to the email address that you have on roster. So it's definitely recommended that you take a look at that, get that updated, reach out to your association if you need that updated. In addition to you being sent the communication, your office manager or your broker will also be copied on that. So there'll be multiple recipients to any notices that you're receiving from compliance.
Great, thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.
Another question on the neighborhood market report. So is it true that any property that is active requires the name and broker of the listing for the neighborhood market report?
That is correct. Yeah, so anything that is not in the status as sold needs to have attribution. So failure to provide attribution will be subject to a citation. So you just want to make sure that you are looking at section 12.8.1, and there are different subsections there that will provide you with the information that has to be included in a neighborhood market report.
Okay, thank you. I see that someone is raising their hand. And Bonnie, if you wouldn't mind typing your question in the QA box. And anybody else who has any questions, because right now we're questionless, which is amazing. So we do have some more time. If you would like to ask a question, now's the time to do so. Okay, listing visibility type. Why is this still in CRP? And so why is listing visibility type still in CRMLS Paragon?
It's the listing visibility type is a, it's not really what I would call like an MLS thing. It's not that we've asked for it. It's a MLS system vendor thing. And in this particularly Black Knight, who makes Paragon. And it is how they control visibility of listings depending on the scenario. You know, without it, then we would just be lacking certain controls in the system. It's kind of interesting that we're being asked this. I don't recall being asked this by a member before. It's certainly a topic we have with the vendor as to how that system rule will behave. So I'd be interested if there was some aspect of that that was kind of a concern to the membership.
Okay, thank you, Rob. We do have a question again on the neighborhood market report. They just want clarification if it was said that they can't use their own images from the same listing, from an older listing on the neighborhood market report. If you could clarify that.
Sure, yeah, so if you are going into the MLS and you are right-clicking and saving that photograph and you're using that for your advertisements, that would not be permitted because you are now using images that are part of our MLS compilation. So that wouldn't be allowed. If you want to do that, you would have to find the originals, either if you have them on your local files or if you need to reach out to that photographer to obtain those originals, that's what you would need to use. So any use of images straight from the MLS, again, right-clicking and saving that would be a violation.
Thank you, Megan. We do have a few people inquiring about if they want to switch over to Matrix, how can they do that? If they can do that, and how can they do that?
That is a great question, and they can reach out to their respective associations in regards to signing up if they want Matrix in addition, or if they choose to switch platforms.
Okay, great. One more question. Are we absolutely required to enter a listing as registered if the client does not want their home in the MLS?
I think the confusion here is the thought that registered would be a listing in the MLS that other members would see, and it is not. It is an automated way to do your waiver, aka SELM, so that you don't necessarily have to deal with the paperwork with us. You, of course, have to do your usual business with your seller. And just know that, yes, you have to put it in the MLS, but it is not visible to anyone other than yourself and your brokerage. And that is your broker, not other agents within your brokerage.
Okay, great. Now, with some of the changes that are being made, like with room dimensions going away, we do have a few attendees who are asking what can they do, who can they talk to if they want to suggest some changes. Can you give them some insight on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have quite the structure to make sure we're listening really well to the membership. And there's a couple avenues. Your association has an individual that they've designated who is part of your MLS committee at your association. So that group at your AOR sits down and reviews changes that they want. And that person from that group comes up to our committee and brings forward those things. Now, say you have an idea and you contact our help desk and it turns out it's not a problem, it's really a suggestion. That's another way that we capture things, is that that support case that we put into our system will automatically get routed back to that individual and your local MLS committee for review. So your suggestions are kept moving along. So even if you kind of hit a dead end with support, there's always that avenue to continue to try and get that change done into the system. The vast majority of the changes we do are based on what members are asking for. We don't tend to sit around and invent these things.
Great, thank you. I have someone who is working on a new listing right now. Is there anything special or different that they need to do prior to the 9/21 upgrade?
Get it done by, I say, Thursday morning at the latest, because at noon sharp, you won't be able to until Monday. So you don't need to do anything different right now. I would just say get it done as soon as you can. Don't push that Thursday at noon time limit.
Okay. Compliance question, who determines the violation fines, and do we publicly publish fines collected and what the violations were?
So the fine, well, the rule set and the fines it goes through a process. So first it starts with the MLS committee at the local associations, then it goes through the rules committee, then the board of directors, and that's where everything is finalized and approved. So all of the rules and the fines associated go through that process. Now, when we fine, we do split the collected monies. We split it 50-50 with the local association, but we don't put anything out to the public regarding how much we've received or what the violations are. So all of that information is kept confidential. So just keep that in mind. If you are reporting something, you will be kept confidential. That's not going to be sent to anybody outside of you. Basically, you're the only person that knows. We're not going to send that information to the association. We're not going to send that to the listing agent. It's only for CRMLS staff to know. But nothing else is provided to the public regarding any of that information.
Thank you, Megan. After the upgrade, so as of 9/21, will members be able to copy or clone listings that they had in the old system prior to the upgrade?
Yes, once they're converted over, if you're, say for instance, a typical case is you have a listing and it's expired and you want to copy it to create yourself a new listing, right? You can't copy other people's listings. That remains the same. That will continue to function. And you'll be copying your converted listing in the new system. So it's really no different from the Paragon's software's perspective. It's just copying a listing.
Okay, Devin, how are we doing on time?
I was just going to give you an update. It looks like we have 3 minutes left according to my laptop, and we want to be mindful of your time. So it looks like we maybe have a few more questions before we sign off. I do want to reiterate what we need you to know here is 9/17 at noon, you go offline. So make sure that you're checking off those items. 9/21 at 8 a.m. is when you guys are coming back up. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we're stressing those, and that's what part of your takeaway is. And again, this site is your site, and the URL has been placed in the chat box so that you guys can capture that. We will also be sending numerous emails within the coming days to you guys reminding you that you're going offline for add edit. and the resource page will also be housed there. We're going to do kind of a top 5 for you guys, hopefully catch the attention of some of those who may not have been able to attend so far, and you will get a copy of the recording also. So that was it for us. We will take a few more questions before we sign off.
Okay, we have Mark asking about mailer pieces. Are they able to include photos of sold listings without approval from the listing agent that sold it? And what about if the agent who sold it is within their own brokerage?
That's a Megan question all day long. Megan, you want to take it?
Sorry, can you repeat that for me?
Okay, so if we have an agent who's sending out mailers, are they able to include photos of sold listings without the approval of the listing agent that sold it? And does that answer also apply to agents within their brokerage?
So if you are advertising a sold property that you have sold or somebody within your brokerage has sold, that's fine. You can use the photographs. You just want to make sure that they're originals. Attribution is implied in that sense because the brokerage, you are advertising the brokerage, and the brokerage is, has some sort of link to that sale and that transaction. Now, if you are sending out anything other than a neighborhood market report for sold properties, just be mindful. Again, I want to say go back to the rule set, look at section 12.8.1 and 12.7 as well, because there are limitations to the term sold and how you can advertise sold properties. I can't really give a clear-cut answer to that, but I will, in the chat, I will go ahead and put an email address so that way that particular person that's asking that question can reach out to us and kind of give us a little bit more specific scenario. But in general, 12.7 and 12.8.1 are going to be your best resources for marketing any sold properties.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, and I think we're good.
All right, awesome. Well, we understand that there's challenges that goes along with any upgrade and any type of change, and we just want to reiterate that we as a team are here for you, and all of our support information can be found on our central site, but your associations are an amazing wealth of knowledge, so please don't hesitate to reach out to them as well, and they are a direct conduit to us. We are so grateful for your time today. Thank you so much for having us, and we will see you on the other side. We are hosting some Zoom meetings live next week, so you will be getting those links also in an email communication, so that if you have some issues, you have some questions, you can pop in and see one of our faces live. It will be like an all-day open drop-in session. And again, those will be next week. I believe there are 3 or 4 of them that are occurring. So please don't hesitate to pop into one of those. And again, thank you guys so much for your time today. Happy Tuesday, and we'll see you.